Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Guess Karen and her husband needed some space. Here we go. Karen and her husband need the whole parking lot. This happened a few years ago. I only just remembered it and realized it was a genuine Karen encounter. My mom and I stopped by the post office on the way home. At the time, we were in a Mini Cooper. There was only one other car in the whole parking lot, up in front of the building. There were two available spots to the right of it, directly in front of the entrance, and several to the left. Mom pulled into the open spot furthest to the right, leaving an empty spot between hers and the other vehicle. Mom gets out of the car and grabs the mail. It took 2 minutes at most. Walking back, an older man had rolled down his window in the other vehicle and began accosting my mom for parking right next to him. "Oh, there's an entire parking spot between us," replies my mom. Now, these aren't compact parking spots. These are extra wide because this is a rural town and pickups, work trucks, and vans are more of the norm, so you could fit nearly a whole Mini Cooper and a half between the two vehicles. The man continues to complain that we park too close. How's my wife supposed to get into the car? And he starts condescendingly instructing my mother to get into her car and park somewhere else, and even how to park, and on about why it wasn't okay to park so close to his vehicle, and that his wife couldn't get into the car with how close we were parked, and that no one's allowed to park in the first parking spots but them. At this point, I'm wondering if his wife is disabled and using a motorized scooter, though there was beyond enough room to accommodate her if that was the case. There was also a handicapped parking spot further down near the ramp for the walkway, so it wouldn't explain why they parked there anyway. None of this made sense. My mom started arguing that she was parked nowhere near his vehicle as the man's non-handicapped wife walks out, sees our Mini, and starts complaining about how we're parked too close to her car. At this point, in a rare moment of rational thinking on her own part, my mom comes to the same conclusion I did, that this isn't worth our time and this was going nowhere. So she just gets in the car as both kooks continue to rant at us and we just leave. And our second story. I can get it cheaper at X. I own a small bait and tackle shop and I sell Warrior single-person boats. The price out the door for said boat with taxes, motor, battery, etc. is $2,182. The price we can sell it for is set by the builder of said boats. Of the MSRP, I make $150. Last month, I got the last 3 he had remaining and will have for a while as he's having issues getting his materials to build them. This exchange happened 2 days after getting his final 3 boats. A guy with friend on the phone, a-hole, also wants a boat. I'm looking to get 2 of the Warrior boats, one for me and one for my buddy. He'll be paying over the phone with a credit card. What's the price per boat? Me. Out the door, $2,182, including taxes and registration. A.H. What? I'm not paying for your Cadillac. That's insane. I can get it at X for $1,500 out the door. I know the owner of the company that builds them. He told me to come to y'all. Me. I apologize. I don't set the price. That's set by Chris, boat manufacturer. A.H. Chris who? Me. Chris Blank, the owner of Warrior Boats? Guy. Since we're buying 2, can you give me 10% off each? More than I make per boat. Me. I can't. That's literally more than I make on the boats. If you'd like, I can pull off the price of the batteries and you can purchase them elsewhere. A.H. I'll just expletive that starts with F and ends with King, go to X, national boat chain that's outrageously priced, and buy them. Y'all won't be in business very long ripping people off like that. Me. Good luck. I called X to check their price because I'm wondering how they're selling them cheaper than the owner sells them on his website. Their price is $2,450. And they don't know when they can get one in, so if I want one, I'll have to go on a waiting list. Bet you can't guess who came in the next day and bought 2 boats weighing $2,182 each after apologizing for his friend that was on the phone. I bet that was a very satisfying sale to make. And our next story. Honey, I'm the queen of petty. So let me preface this by saying I work in a call center. We get 4 weeks of paid vacation and we go through bids for vacation days starting in November for the following year. Bidding is based off seniority, which I'm fine with, but sometimes it can suck. In my particular role, it can be pretty awful because we only have 4 people for our role, so only one person can be scheduled off a day. I have this coworker, let's call him Steve. Well, Steve has more seniority than me, so since we work the same days, he gets first dibs. So when our bidding started, I already expected him to have the week of Christmas off, which is pretty usual for him, so no big. I approached him one day just to ask if he was planning on taking a certain day off, my birthday, and he said no because it's not during the usual week he takes off. So I start walking away, and he had the audacity to call after me saying, "Actually, I'll let you have your birthday off if you let me have," insert Hallmark holiday here. "I'm going out of state that weekend." I was all sorts of annoyed. What kind of weak, petty bullcrap did he think he was going to get away with here? I didn't say anything and continued to walk away. Well, Steve had been talking about trying to get a leave of absence for a while because he was too stressed. Somehow he convinced some doctor he legit needed time off. He didn't. He tries going out on leave every year towards the end of the year to get all the winter holidays off, and he left the week of Thanksgiving. Here's where the petty comes in. Now, when Steve left, we'd only done one round of vacation bidding. There were still 3 rounds left for us to go through. And guess what you can't do when you're on a leave of absence? You can't bid on vacation. So while Steve was finding himself, or whatever bullcrap he fed everyone else, I was bidding for everything I knew he wanted. Week of Christmas, I got it. My birthday, got it. Kids' spring break week, mine. 4th of July week, oh yeah. Father's Day, no out-of-state trip for you, Steve. And to top it all off, I took his birthday off just for good measure. He still has yet to bring it up, and I know he's seen what days are available and what days aren't. I just can't wait till he brings it up. Edit. So I have an update. Steve has left our role and accepted a new one. However, because he started a new role in a department that did their vacation bid the same time my department did, they still have far more people than my team did. He still won't get any of the days he wants. So it didn't exactly go down as planned, but he's gone and still has to work all the days he would have originally taken off. So I'll accept that win. And our last story. Entitled lawyer blocks disabled parking. Boy, oh boy, do I have a story for you guys. So this all started a week ago when a guy parked in the no parking zone marked between 2 disabled bays across the road from where I work. For those who don't know, this section is for disabled people to get their wheelchairs in and out from their van lifts, and is the space for the little ramp to go up into the pathway, etc., which is why it needs to be kept clear all the time. So I work in a tiny cafe section of a supermarket which has its busy times but also has its quiet days. That day was one of the latter. About 5 to 10 minutes after this man parked there, a customer parked in one of the disabled bays next to him and began to get their wheelchair out, SMH. And as I had a quick second, I crossed the road to the man who was only a few meters away from the parking spaces sitting at a restaurant. Me. "G'day, mate. Would you mind moving your car for me, please? The customer's trying to get their wheelchair out, and you've blocked them from using the access ramp to the footpath." Him. "Okay." Gets up. Me. "Thanks." Gets back to work. He didn't seem sorry or ashamed, but whatever. He seemed to have gotten the point. Back from my window, though, I saw him watch the disabled user get their wheelchair out in spite of his car and didn't make any attempt to move it. Though I thought I'd explained pretty clearly and respectfully without chastising him why it's not okay to park there. Though I thought that no parking lines would be a clear enough message, I just shook my head in disbelief at how this guy had no shame at all and was just taking the piss. I was too busy, though. I nearly tried to find an opportunity to come back over and ask him, "What happened to moving your car?" But by the time I had a second, he was gone. Oh, also, the entire time he was watching, he was standing right next to about 2 or 3 free actual parking spaces. I definitely gave him too much credit to think that even if he thought it was okay before, there's no excuse not to move now since several spaces had now freed up. Fast forward a week. Guys, this is where we kick things up a notch. So just yesterday, I see this guy pull the same stunt again, only this time he parks his car, gets out, sees me see him, and shaking my head in disbelief again, and he gives a big, cheeky wave. It's a super quiet day, so I go over there instantly and chat to him. You'll have to excuse me for not remembering exactly how our conversation went line by line, because as you'll see how weird this interaction got, he was throwing me curveballs all over the place. Me. "G'day, mate. So, do you remember last week how I explained to you when you park there, it blocks my customers from being able to use their wheelchairs and access their ramp? Him. So? Me. Yeah, you can't park there, please, mate. Him. Who are your customers? Where do you work? Me. You know exactly where I work. You just waved at me. Him, trying super hard to scare me now. Who's your manager? Stares hard at my name badge for about 30 seconds as we continue our conversation. Me. His name's blank. You're more than welcome to chat to him. I don't really mind, but you can't park there. Him. Tell him to call me. I come here to get lunch and you're trying to be a hero. I will F you up. I genuinely found this hilarious as he was a good 15 centimeters or so shorter than me and didn't seem like he knew much about fighting. Me, standing my ground. Why are you being so rude, mate? Him. I'm not being rude. That's a loading zone. People are allowed to park there. Me. No, it's not. It's no parking, and you're not loading anything anyway. Whatever, I got a job to get back to. Walks back across the road. So old mate decides to follow me into the supermarket and begins to call me a racist, he's Indian, and that I'm just jealous because he was driving a Mercedes. I didn't even know or care. I genuinely thought it was a BMW. And that's why you work in a coffee shop. To which I said, feel better? Both he and I walk over to my colleague at the same time and ask my colleague to call blank, the store manager. My colleague realizes something serious is going on and promptly gets the manager, and I walk back over to my little cafe section with my new friend back in tow, still getting personal with the insults, and I just stand there knowing it has nothing to do with me. Hand on heart, I swear he even tried to play the race card again and said something about how I'm jealous because a black man's driving a Mercedes, which I thought was laughable. I thought Indians are brown. Did he just think it sounded cool to identify as black? I don't know. I digress once again. So I told him loudly enough for nearby customers to hear and get their attention not to keep threatening me. I also said, just be careful, mate. There are cameras right here, which I pointed out. Him. I don't care. Anyway, while he's now going full Karen on me, all of the managers finally come down, basically all at once, and he says to my store manager, I want to talk to you outside. Manager. Yeah, sure, it's a nice day. Let's go outside. Not sure why, so I can't hear? So he's not in others' territory, in view of the cameras? From what I saw, this guy's still going at top speed at my manager, and as I pieced together later from what manager told me, my manager finally got a word in and said, okay, may I speak now? OP's right. You can't park there. Oh, by the way, I should also mention my manager has a disabled parking badge as his son's in a wheelchair and needs to make use of this exact type of parking. Upon realizing that my manager's on my side, this guy apparently used all the same insults and tactics he'd tried with me, calling manager a racist, jealous, etc. He also threatened him. Manager's significantly taller than me and therefore way taller than that guy. So naturally, my manager simply laughed, took a photo of his parking, and walked back inside. Manager then comes over and fist bumps me and tells me I did a good job. Later on, we learned that this guy tried to email head office to once again tell the same lies to them about me, my manager, and apparently, as I gave away in the title, he's a practicing solicitor. He then included his full name and phone number, which I don't have, but I do find it funny that he thought he was going to get far when I could easily have more dirt on him that he could have on me. We half joked about messaging his work, for example, to tell them of his behavior. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.